Good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to be doing the Kabbalat Shabbat once again online. I think it's my third time. The first time we were in complete lockdown. I did it from my dining room. Second time it was sort of half and half. And here we are back to some kind of normality, but we're still doing it. It's a real privilege to be with you this afternoon. And the first thing I want to do is to take a few moments to pay tribute to our ex-servicemen and women. On Sunday is the annual Ajax Parade. And of course, we mark also Ajax Shabbat, some last week and some this week. So in a moment, we'll say the memorial prayer for those who gave their lives in defense of this country. A few weeks ago, we read the story of Vayishlach, where we read about the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. There's much discussion about this story, but one thing is clear, that that's the first and last time in history that there was even a suggestion that anyone should have to offer their child as a sacrifice in Jewish tradition, until, of course, that is World War I and World War II, where many in our own community, along with the nation, were called upon to send their sons, barely aged 18, to the front lines with no idea whether they would return or not. And we know that thousands lost their lives in defense of this country. So we'll take a moment to reflect and to say the memorial prayer for all those who gave their lives, together with those who were killed in the Shoah for this country. Adonai Olamim, Zechor es nishmois kol anshe chayil, she'ha'oru lamus nafsham ba'ad artzam, ve'es nishmois sheishes milyon acheinu, ve'achi yoseinu hakadoshim v'atoirim, ana ba'al harachamim, hasirein b'sei seken afech al yolamim, u'tzro b'tzochaim es nishmoisam, Adonai hu nachalasam, Yanuch v'shalom amishkavam, v'neimar, Amen. O Father of compassion, in whose hand are the souls of the living and the dead, we beseech you to remember all those who gave up their lives in service of this country, together with our 6 million brothers and sisters who were murdered in the Shoah. May their memory be blessed. May their sacrifice not have been in vain. Shelter them under the protection of your wings forevermore. May their souls be bound up in the bond of eternal life. May you spread the tabernacle of your peace upon all the dwellers on earth. And let us say, Amen. Before we start the Kabbalat Shabbat, just to share a couple of other ideas also. So this week's Sedra is Vayishlach. Starts off with Yaakov, Jacob, his long-awaited reunion with his brother Esau. And this famous line, he says, Im Lavan Garti, I lived with my uncle Lavan. And Rashi says that Garti has the same numerical value as 613. What Yaakov is saying is that even when I was living in Lavan's house, which was hardly a holy place, inspiring place, I still kept the mitzvot, the 613 mitzvot. This has been the challenge of our people throughout the ages. How do we preserve our identity? How do we keep the mitzvot? Not just in shul or school or yeshiva, but beyond those four walls of the shul. When we go out and about, whether it's at home or at work, or wherever we find ourselves in the world, are we affected by Lavan, or do we stand tall and proud and keep our identity just like Yaakov did? That's been the challenge of Jewish life throughout the ages. Not to keep Judaism the flag flying, the flame burning in shuls and yeshivas and other places of spiritual inspiration, but even everywhere we go. And Yaakov teaches us that it's possible to do it, to be a Jew on the road as well as at home. Depending who you ask, some people tell you that COVID is finished, others will say that we are still very much in the midst of it. Whichever way you look at it, there are great challenges in our homes, in our families, and in our communal life. There are those who want to go back to whatever normal is, and there are those who are still extremely cautious. I was at a seminar the other day, and we're discussing the greatest challenges for leaders of the COVID era. And the thing that came up the most was the lack of certainty, the lack of knowledge of what was around the corner. You know, normally you can plan for 6 months, a year, 5-year, 3-year strategic plans. With COVID, that all went out the window. It was impossible to plan anything because we just didn't know and we had to adapt. And again, in this week's Sedra, we see that Yaakov comes with 2 plans. Plan A is 400 men of war in case Esau attacks him. Plan B is to appease him with gifts. You need, whatever the government might tell you, you need a plan A, plan B, plan C. You need to be flexible. If the COVID has taught us one thing, it's that we have to adapt, we have to be flexible, we have to have ideas that we might not have normally considered, a plan B, a plan C for how we're going to do things. Somebody remarked to me that we've managed to do things in the past 18 months that would have taken 10 years if a committee had to plan them, but they happened overnight because we had no choice. And again, this is the story of Jewish history. We've always had to go through paradigm shifts. The greatest paradigm shift in history, the destruction of the Second Temple and the move to a local community, synagogue-based Judaism. That move was so successful that so often people tell their rabbis, as we know, Rabbi, it's more important I come to shul even if I don't walk there, because the shul is so important and so central. That was a huge paradigm shift from pilgrimage, temple-centered Judaism. And we've had other paradigm shifts in our history. And we've seen paradigm shifts in the past 18 months. So whilst it may not have happened in our lifetime until now, it's nothing new in the sort of Jewish experience. We have to embrace it, welcome the opportunity for change and to re-examine things and look at doing things in new ways that are more meaningful, more inspiring. So one of the good things that's come out of this very difficult time, we've re-examined a lot of so-called sacred cows. We've, I don't want to say slaughtered them, but we've rethought a lot of things that we never thought we would. And I hope those lessons continue into the future, please God, as we hopefully return to a sense of normality. We wish all those who remain unwell and affected by this terrible disease, all those who've suffered, only good health and gesund and menuchas hanefesh. They should have peace and tranquility. And please God, we should have an end to all the suffering that we've known. We're now going to do Kabbalat Shabbat, which is in the green siddur on page 256. Yedid nefesh avarachaman meshoich avdecha el retzoinecha yarutz avdecha kamo ayal yishtachaveh El mol hadarecha yerablo yedidoi secha minoi fetzuf bechol ta'am hador nae ziv ha'olam nafshi chaylas Abasecha Ana Elna Rafana La Baharois La Noam Zivecha Osis Chazek Basis Rapei Bahayisala Simcha Soilam Basik Yemuna Rachamecha V'chusana Al Ben Ahuvecha Ki Zekama Nichsoif Nichsavti Leroy Siferes Uzecha Eilechamda Libi V'chusana Bi'alti Salam Higalena Ufreis Chavimi Alai Esukas Shaloi Mecha Ta'ireret Michvoidecha Nagila V'nismechavach Maherehoiva Kiva Moed B'choneinu Kimei Olam Ananai nai 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 Ananai nai 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 Ananai nai 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 Tananai nai nai nai, ananai nai nai nai, ananai nai 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 nai, tananai nai nai nai, ananai nai nai nai, ananai nai 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 nai, tananai nai nai nai, ananai nai nai nai, ananai nai 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 nai. Lachon ranana ladoinoi naria letzon yishayna nakat mafanam besoida bizmirais naria la kiyogadolemekalolokolem Shem yadoi mekarei oretz first harim la I'll talk to you about him, Kim Reba, Kim Sabin Bash, and it's in your voice, Seichem. Chadoni Gam Rufali, Abaim Shana, Akul Badar, Aimar, Am Toilei, Vavheim, Baheim, La Yodu Derachai, Asher nishmati miyapi im yevayon el manuchasi shiru ladainai shir chadash shiru ladainai kol haaretz shiru ladainai bachu shemai pasu miyayim layayim yeshuasai sapru vagoyim Kavaydai b'chol ha'amim nifloisav ki gadol Adonai u'maholam yayin nairahu al kol Elohim ay ki kol Elohim elilim b'Adonai shamayim asa Hoy behada lefanav ois vesiferes b'mikdashay habu ladainai mishbachai samim habu ladainai kavod va'ois habu ladainai kavod shemai so mincha uvanyu lechatzroisav Aynai heishachavu ladoinai bahadras kodesh chilu mipamna kol haaretz imru vagoyim Adonai malach aftik tevel bawal timait yodinamim b'meisharim yismechu hashamayim v'sagel haaretz yiramayam Umalayai Yalai Sadai Echol Hashebayai Nai Oz Yirananu Kolat Seyawa Lifnei Yadonai Kivawa Lishbait Haaretz Yishbait Tevel B'Vad Tzedek V'yamim B'Munasai Ay nai 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 nai, ay nai nai nai, ay nai nai nai, ay nai, ay nai 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 nai, nai 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 nai, nai 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 nai. Adonai malach tagel haaretz Yizra'im rabbi manrosu tzedek mishpat l'chen gisai Eishtefan teilech Hier mein Sieger, Chaim Kavayda, Yemesh Malav Devan. Ki Adonai al Yoina Koloris Meina Leisa Kololohim. Avei Adonai Yesinura, Shoymen Avshois Chasidav, Miyad Rishayim Yatileim, Or Zaru al Tzadik, ולيשרי שמחה, שמחו צדיקים באדוני, והוידו לזכר קודשי מזמור, שיר לאדוני שיר חדש, כי נפלוס עשה שלו ימיני, וזרוע קודשו, הודה אדוני שעשה לנגויים גילצי עשה, זכור חסדה ויאמון עשה לבייס ישראל וכל עבדי ארץ ישראל. ולמקולו את יצקובנו סמי וזמי חוזמה, חצי צרייס וכל שפו, אריו לפני המלך אדוני, ירם הים ומלואי, תבל וישבה, נהרי שמחה וכף, יחד הרים ירננו, לפני אדוני קיבה, לשמוע את הארץ, ישבע תבל בצדק, וימים במישרים, עיני, עיני, Adonai Malachi Zuamim. Rama Kolamim Yedishim Agadam. Pamudanan Yedaber Aleihem Shomru Eidaisam V'choin Nasalamai Adonai Eloheinu Ato Anisam El Nisei Yisalahem V'nai Kei Malaniloisam Rahai Mamu Adonai Eloheinu V'ishtachavu Lahar Kodshay Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Mizmor LaDavid Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim Havu l'Adonai Kavod ba'oz Havu l'Adonai Kavod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai Parnas kodesh Koil l'Adonai Alamayim Ela kavod hirim Adonai Amayim Rabim Koil Adonai Bakoyach Einai Koil Adonai Behadar Koil Adonai Shoiver Arazim Vaishaber Adonai Yesasei Alavanai Vayarkidei Kamoegel Lebanon Basirion Kamoegel Ben Re'imim Einai Koil Adonai Chaytzev Lavoiseish Koil Adonai Yachil Midbar Yachil Adonai Midbar Kodesh Koil Adonai Yachil Eloi Alois Vayeches Avamai Yarois Ulaheichalovai Kulavai Merkavai Nai Adonai Lemavul Yashav Yeshev Adonai Melech Li'olam Adonai Yos Ni'amo Yitein Adonai Yevarech Es Avoy Vashaloi Ay nai Ay nai Ay nai nai nai, ay nai 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 nai, ay nai 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 nai. Koiladino yechelelayalis, vayechesov yarois, uvahei chaloi, kuloi merkavoid, Adonai, lemavul yashov, vayeshev Adonai, melech li'olam, Adonai is li'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech, es amoy v'shalom, Anna b'kayach b'kayach, gedulas yamincha, Tati terura kabari. We end with L'chadodi, page 266. We will conclude before the last verse, and then please, candlelighting is at 3:51, so you can wait till then, or you can light now, and obviously conclude the davening with the end of L'chadodi, but we'll switch off before that, as is customary. Page 266. Likras kala, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, L'chadodi, Likras kala, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Shamu v'zachu, b'dibor echad, hishmiyanu, elam yuchad, Adonai echad, u'shma yechad, L'shem Luciferes v'lisila, L'chadodi, Likras kala, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Ananai, Ananai, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Likras Shabbos, L'chuvan elcha, Ki makor habracha meirosh mikedem, Nesucha, Seif Maseh Mashabat Chila, L'chadodi, Likras kala, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Ananai, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Mikdash Melech, Imalucha, Kumitzai, Mitay Chafecha, Rab Lasheves, B'yemek hamacha, v'yachamal ala yichemna, L'chadodi, Likras kala, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Ananai, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, His nari, me'afar kumi, livshi migdei, sifratei chami, al yad ben Yishai, Beis halachmi korva el nafshi gyola, L'chadodi, Likras kala, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Ananai, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Hisoirari, Ki ba'orech, Kumi ori, Shidaberi, Kvadadino, Yala, Yichnigla, L'chadodi, Likras kala, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Ananai, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Ananai, Bnei Shabbos, Kabbalah, Lo say Vayishim, Lo say Kami, Imati Sheichachi, Umatemi, Bawa Yechesu Ani Yami, Benim Nesa, Iratila, Yananai, Lecha doidi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabala Lecha doidi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabala Ba'ayulim shisa shoisayich Barachakum kol mevalayich Yosis salayich Eliyayich Kim sois chasan al-kala Lecha doidi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabala Lecha doidi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabala Yamin nusmaltif roitzi Bies adoinoi tariti Al yad ish ben parti V'nismacha v'nagila Lecha doidi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabala Lecha doidi lekras kala Pnei Shabbos nekabala. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Remember, you can light candles anytime now up to 3:51 in London. So from wherever you're watching, wish you a Shabbat Shalom, and I hope you're lovely, peaceful, and safe 25 hours, and hope to see you again soon. Shabbat Shalom. Take care.